Ladies and gentlemen, yes, this is your favorite show, Sports Unfolded, with your favorite hosts, Eric and Ron.
Hey, welcome to Sports Unfolded, Season 2, Episode 39, The Walking Wounded. I am your host, Eric, main man over there. I did it wrong. Over there. Ron, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Eric?
I'm doing great, my friend. Doing great. So much to unfold this week in the sports world. We definitely had some stories out there this week that some of them are a little alarming. We'll start right off with our leadoff story, and that is the Tua injury where he suffered a concussion last night against the Cincinnati Bengals. And I guess the question I want to ask first and foremost, did the team handle this right? We're not going to talk about the game so much as the situation that happened with Miami, with their quarterback, and how it was handled. Your thoughts?
Well, this is looking more and more like there's going to be some disciplinary action coming soon. To me, that was no back injury against Buffalo. And, I mean, a back injury isn't going to do that.
Yeah.
It isn't going to make you wobble and fall. You know, that's not a back injury. That was clearly a concussion. And for them to run him out there saying it was a back injury last week is just total crap. It is total crap.
Yeah, look, I don't know who to blame more. It just seems like there was some questions on the coaching. Mike McDaniel, did he make the right call, especially during the Buffalo game? Look, if we all assume it was a concussion against Buffalo on Sunday, the fact that you allowed your player to go back out 5 days later, I have a question on that. But the doctors that allowed him to go back into the game on Sunday, they should be questioned as well. Some of his own teammates, his teammates are trying to pick him up. And yet, again, nobody decided to step in and decide that this man should not be playing a professional football game, especially a Thursday.
Yeah, and the odd part about it is they released him from the hospital like only hours after he got there, last night. And that to me is wrong too. Like, what is going on? Why are they trying to rush this guy back onto the field if he's not ready to play? Because this is what it looks like to me. I mean, do they not have any confidence in Bridgewater? Because to me, I thought he played pretty well.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to have a decent game. Definitely was on target. And he got hit. It was the same exact spot when the Buffalo, he hit his head in the same exact spot. So you knew he must have had some symptoms that obviously should have caused this team not to put him on the field. And I know the NFLPA is definitely investigating the Buffalo situation. This just strengthens their point that he should not have played.
Yeah, no, absolutely shouldn't have played. You know, look, to me, okay, when you start really thinking about all the things that have happened, okay, the Miami Dolphins get rid of Flores because he wasn't going to tank on purpose, blah, blah, blah. He gets fired. They get a guy that comes in here and he's going to do everything that the ownership tells him to do. Tua gets injured in Buffalo, and they rush him back out on the field, probably because owners probably stated, we need to get him back on the field. So they put him back on the field and covered up the concussion to make it a back injury instead.
Yeah,
this is what I get out of it.
Clearly was not a back injury.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, that was 100% concussion. And the players know it. And I don't know why it's being covered up that way, and to what extent the cover up extends to.
Yeah. Well, the league definitely has to change the protocols. This is not working. Mike McDaniel had a press conference today, and he said he talked to Tua on the phone, and Tua's like, "I hope I don't miss games X, Y, and Z."
Yeah.
So even the player himself isn't protecting himself. He's more worried about him making sure that he's on that field. Look, the NFL is the problem with the NFL is you could get cut in an instant and your career can be over. And a lot of these guys push themselves to get through an injury. And we're seeing it in New England with Mac Jones as well. Right? High ankle sprain, and they finally ruled him out, but it was questionable. He was going to be a game time decision. You're putting these people at risk for further injuries. Then we wonder why when we see these players later on in their careers, they can't walk or they, again, Junior Seau was very famous for his CTE situation with all of his concussions that he suffered. And Rob Ninkovich was on ESPN this morning, and he had such a heartfelt discussion about this. And he said he used to sit next to Junior Seau's locker. He goes, nobody knows what that man was going through. And they're jeopardizing people's future. It's not about going 4-0. It's about Tua having a normal life once he gets done with football. You're jeopardizing that, and you're allowing him to jeopardize that if you rush him back.
Yeah. See, and I almost get it on the player's point of view, because a player wants to play. Like, I went through it too when I played hockey, and I played through injuries, and it was stupid. Looking back at it, it was stupid, but they all do it. I mean, hockey players are known for being out there injured, as we've already discussed things that were wrong with Patrice Bergeron in that Stanley Cup season, and when Chara goes out there and plays with a broken jaw. Well, football players are cut from the same cloth. They're tough, they gut it out, and that's what they do because they're football players. But at some point, despite what the player wants, and he says he's ready to go, just because he says he's ready to go, it doesn't mean that he is. And being the head coach, your responsibility is for that player. And, you're the connection between the players and the front office. And when push comes to shove, you always have to side on the player's side, to make sure they are safe. That's your job as a head coach. Not only to win games, but player safety is your number one concern.
And I just question, okay, there's a doctor on the sideline, a doctor in a box that make those decisions, and you can't tell me they felt he was qualified enough to go back into the game on Sunday, because that first big hit he took last night took him out of the game.
Yep.
He was done.
Yep.
And the scary part with his hands when they locked up and you didn't know what happened at first, he was knocked out. He was clearly knocked out.
Yeah.
And again, somebody has to be held accountable. Somebody has to get suspended, fined. Again, I agree with you. Once this investigation goes full throttle, it's going to be very interesting to see what was said or done during those conversations on Sunday.
Yeah, no, it's look, it's an ugly situation. Nobody wants to see a player get hurt like that. No one. And look, the fans were chanting his name.
Yeah.
And I give a lot of respect for those Cincinnati fans, because that is a crowd that is very aware of what was happening. And you got to feel for the players on both sides, and it's like, how do you think the Bengals defense feels? You know what I'm saying? They can't feel great because of what happened. They didn't want to hurt him. It just happens.
Yeah.
And
again, you can't blame them. Honestly, he should have never been on the field.
No.
Miami Dolphins are the the most responsible party in this whole thing.
Absolutely.
It's just a shame. We're going to continue with some NFL talk, though, and obviously we want to wish best of health for Tua. Good luck on your recovery. But we're going to talk some NFL. We're going to bring up this next individual who Hall of Fame, Brett Favre, is involved in a major scandal, supposedly taking over $5 million in funds for a new gym for his alma mater, University of Southern Mississippi. Again, this money was for, families in need. He bribed, I guess, pressured the former governor, Phil Bryant, into pulling that money from that fund to facilitate the new gym. Your thoughts on A, this situation, but B, should he be banned from the Hall of Fame if this is found to be true?
I think so. First of all, when you go into the Hall of Fame, and I know it's based on what happens on the field in your sport. I know it's based on that, but there are clauses in there that you should be honorable, blah, 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 and all these things. Like, you should be a Hall of Fame person as well. And I think that is getting lost in today's game, especially in baseball. Look, we know how I feel about certain players that are in the Hall of Fame or didn't get into the Hall of Fame. But, if this is true, this is just gross. This is just despicable. And look, he is questionable as a human, already. With his stint with the Jets and the whole photo thing and blah, blah, blah. So his person
I forgot
is
all about that
questionable as it is.
Yeah.
And if this is true, and he knowingly did it, because according to what I read in the files of all these things, he knew. And he tried to get them to put the money towards a volleyball gym
that his daughter
was attending
on the team. Yeah, so it's
disgusting.
I just don't understand it. Again, these guys, they can raise that money.
Why didn't he just donate it?
Yeah, or raise some money.
He's still doing commercials.
Yeah, I'm sure he could raise some kind of money to make that happen. And then the fact that, again, you sit here and deny it.
Yeah.
But they have text messages showing that. I just don't understand it. But my question is, Ron, too, I don't recall. I believe O.J. Simpson's still in the Hall of Fame. I don't think they ever banned him.
I don't even know. I don't
know what I mean?
I don't know.
I
didn't even think of that.
I don't think you can ban him. I mean, I've seen people, there's some chatter about they should take him out of the Hall of Fame. I don't think it's possible. I mean, I find it hard for them to leave OJ and then ban Brett Favre for this.
Right.
So I kind of question it. But again, I forgot all about that story with the Jets. And he sent the pictures to that reporter. Right?
I didn't forget.
That's what that was. I remember it now that you said that. Yeah. How well did that work out for him?
Yeah, not very.
Oh, boy. So every week we cover our local team. That's the New England Patriots. And we discuss the game they're going to be playing versus their opponent, which will be the Green Bay Packers this week. It is a 4:00 game. After the game, we'll do our Patriots post-game show. But we're going to discuss and break down some of our thoughts on the upcoming opponent here in Green Bay. How do you feel this game's going to go? We did get the injury report around 4:00. No Mac Jones, no Lawrence Guy, Jacoby Myers, Kyle Duggar, Devon Godshaw, Jalen Mills, Adrian Phillips are all questionable.
Jesus Christ. How are they going to beat Green Bay? There's no way.
So I was kind of hopeful. I said maybe the defense. So Green Bay's only averaging 16 points a game.
Yeah,
they're offensively not doing very well. But they got the sixth best defense currently in the 3 games, and they're only giving up 15 points a game. So you're playing a top-notch defense with your second-string quarterback. I'm not very hopeful. If they can run the ball effectively, they have a shot to remain in the game, is what I would think. But again, on the road, 3 out of the first 4 games on the road, too. Really odd scheduling by the NFL.
No, it's probably a good thing because I think even if they were at home for this one, I don't think they fare well.
They don't seem to play well at home now. That's another thing that went out the window.
Yeah, well, I just don't have much hope for this game. I'm sorry. When you're missing guys all over the field, how are you going to compete with a contender? You know what I'm saying? Like it's tough enough as this team, when it's at a full roster, it's tough enough. But when you're down a quarterback going against that kind of a defense, and it doesn't give you much hope. And then when you're potentially missing 5 key guys on that defense, that's not good against Aaron Rodgers.
No. So he's been sacked 8 times in the 3 games. Maybe you could get some pressure. But again, I just don't know if they're going to have enough pieces. To your point, the secondary's banged up.
Yep.
The wide receiving group is banged up. Your thoughts on Brian Hoyer? What's your expectation? What he should do to at least keep the Patriots in this game?
Do a lot of praying.
That's the insight you get from Sports Unfolded. You get it nowhere else.
I just don't think they stand a chance at all. And I'm generally looking at the bright side of things.
Yeah, you usually glass half full. Yeah.
No, not in this case. This is a big L, and I think they're going to lose by at least 14. At least.
So if you're a Patriots fan, stay tuned because our face-off, we will be having another discussion about Bill Belichick and should he be on the hot seat. That's coming up later on in the show. Let's move on to some other NFL games of interest of this week. So obviously the Bengals Miami game would have been one. What else did you have on your docket that fans shouldn't miss this week?
I think the Broncos Raiders.
I have that game. Yes.
That's a big game for the Raiders.
But for different reasons, yes. Can Josh McDaniels save his job? Because 0-4, there's already been some questions. It's a very interesting situation. And Denver hasn't looked great.
No.
Not what we expected. So that
whole division.
West, the AFC West is not what we thought it would be.
When you think about it, it was like a crapshoot of who was going to win and who was going to come in last. And it was a crapshoot. And then here we are going into week 4, and Kansas City looks like they're the best team in that division.
Front runners again. Yep.
Nothing changed.
And I have Kansas City at Tampa Bay.
Yes, of course. I mean,
rematch of Super Bowl 55.
Yep.
Tom Brady, with all those injuries on the offensive side of the ball, can he do enough to keep Tampa in this? But we also question Kansas City. Again, bad loss to the Colts. How do they bounce back? Or is that signs of what might come with the Kansas City Chiefs? So I think that's a very interesting game this week.
Yes, and I have to go with the Rams in San Francisco.
I have them at that game as well. NFC divisional. No, it wasn't divisional. It was the championship game last year.
This is really big for, I think, both teams because if the Rams lose it, then they're 2-2?
Yeah.
And mediocre. And, San Francisco loses it, they're 1-3, and they basically should lose the game. Should. Do I think they will? I'm not so sure. When you got a guy that lost last week getting in his first game, Jimmy G's going to want to win this one, and he doesn't lose 2 in a row. I don't think ever.
It's very rare. Very rare. Jacksonville at Buffalo.
Absolutely.
And I didn't even think about that.
No, Jacksonville at Philadelphia.
Oh, Philadelphia. I'm sorry. Jacksonville at Philadelphia. And I thought about the interesting story is that, the head coach going back to Philly,
Yeah.
how the fans are going to respond. That should be a fun one. Philly's been a very good team this year. I like that one. And then Buffalo at Baltimore.
Yes. That's all the games that I have. That we have the same games.
Yeah.
Not
And again,
surprising.
Buffalo, again, do they bounce back? Is Baltimore for real? And again, the quarterback matchup alone, Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson. How can you not want to see that if you're a football fan? That should be fun. That should be fun. So again, we'll be on after the game. It's 4:00, so figure around 7:30. Patriots post-game show, Sports Unfolded style. Join us for that as well. Ron, it's triple play time. And we decided to take the 3 leading receiving yards in the NFL currently this season. That's Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Stephon Diggs. And we're going to decide who we start, bench, and cut. You are first this week.
This one was a difficult one.
Have at it, my friend.
Because let me tell you how close these guys are in numbers. Obviously, Stephon Diggs has played the most. He's got 106 games. Hill 95, and Waddle only 20 games. Yeah. But when you look at their yards per game, 74.8 for Tyreek, 72.9 for Stephon Diggs, and 69.8 for Waddle. That's pretty close. And when it all comes down to it, I go with Tyreek Hill as my starter. Because he's slightly younger than Diggs and still has some more years left, not that saying that Diggs doesn't, but I will take Tyreek Hill as my starter. He's got the most yards per game and the most touchdowns per game at 0.61. I am benching Waddle.
Wow.
Yes. Because I've already got a guy that's already, at the peak of his career. So I'm going to go somebody younger and put him on my bench. Maybe sacrificing 3 to 5 yards per game. Not a big deal. But the touchdowns are pretty much the same. Waddle's got 0.45 and Diggs has 0.49. So not a big deal there. So I'm still going to get the same production out of somebody younger and can last a lot longer. So I will bench Waddle. And unfortunately, I would cut Stephon Diggs, even though I would never want to. But if Tyreek Hill wasn't there, it would be Diggs as my starter.
I am in shock right now. I really am. I didn't see that way coming that way or going that way. That's pretty interesting. It's a different way to look at it, I guess. So we had a different. I am going to start Stephon Diggs.
Right.
And I looked at it, 11 more games, but he has 112 more receptions in those 11 games. So he's averaging basically 10 more receptions. The yardage was about the same. Touchdowns, 52 for Diggs, 58 for Tyreek Hill. But I went Tyreek Hill as my bench because, again, I still think he gives you that element. 13.9 yards per reception in his career. Phenomenal. And I just think Jalen Waddle hasn't produced enough for me at this point to say I would pick him over these other two guys. Stephon Diggs and Tyreek Hill have done it for years now, and their numbers show it. They're 7,000 yards each of them to 1,300.
Yeah.
But
there's no wrong answer here because
it was just
I just decided to go with the youth on my bench, just to have somebody there longer period of time.
Okay. I see.
No biggie.
None at all. Let's move on to some NBA. Nice triple play, by the way.
It is a nice triple play. That was a good one.
Oh, man, he went Diggs. Yeah, I'm not seeing anybody's comments, so you just bring them up. Okay, bench still. Yeah, we had it the same. So, NBA time. We're going to talk about the Boston Celtics, who are back in the news. A little more positive, I guess. They've signed Blake Griffin. We're actually going to bring him up on the screen. And
Maybe
it's a 1-year, fully guaranteed contract. Do you like the move by the team?
What was the price tag?
They haven't announced it.
Oh, because
couldn't
that would
find
make
it
a
anywhere.
difference to me. But yeah, I
I'm sure
like
it's not
bringing him
much.
in. Look, for a game, he came off the bench, in the playoffs,
And went
and he
crazy for a
sparked
few
the
minutes.
team.
Yeah.
He sparked that team, and there is value in a guy like that coming off your bench. Like, I like the move for him being on that bench, especially with all the rash of injuries. You had to do something, and this isn't a bad move.
So 33 years old. Last season with the Brooklyn Nets, 6.4 points per game, 4.1 rebounds, 1.9 assists. Only shot 42.5% from the field, 26.2 from the three-point range. But I also felt like there was so many different players on Brooklyn that took three. His numbers and shots went way down. He took less shots, less opportunities, only played 17.1 minutes per game. My
Yeah.
concern would be health for him, because he has had a tendency now to miss some time during the season. But what's the one thing he hasn't done, Ron?
Win a championship.
Win a championship. Where are the Boston Celtics last year?
Exactly.
2 wins away from the final. So you may get a motivated Blake Griffin knowing this is the closest he may get in his career. That's a good sign for Boston.
Yeah, and
Because he could have
especially,
signed anywhere.
if we can get him to motivate and get into like game shape right away and play, even half as good as when he was in his prime. Because to me, look, I don't think a player just loses it overnight. And that's what it appeared to be with him. He like lost his talent overnight. I think it's there. I think it's just desire.
Yeah.
I think he needs that passion again about the game that he hasn't had since all those injuries that kind of just drained his energy.
Yeah, look, Boston has a rash of injuries at that position. So the expectation is he's going to play, and he's probably going to have to put up a little bit more minutes. Rob Williams' injury, we know he'll be out till sometime maybe the next calendar year. Luke Cornett, who is expected to probably be the fill-in for the time being, he's out 1 to 2 weeks. Al Horford, they already said, isn't going back-to-back in games. So you're going to need a big body. You're going to need somebody that can eat up some minutes. I think he's going to see a lot of time early. So I agree with you. He has to come in, be motivated, ready to go. Look, and they beat him last year, Boston. So sometimes that little bit of a fact of knowing how hard they played against you shows you.
Absolutely.
He is a defensive liability. We know he's not very good defensively. He never has really been. He's not the high flyer he used to be either. But I think he can honestly average 10 points and 8 rebounds with this team if he stays motivated, because he's going to get more opportunities to shoot. He's going to be able to be on the floor a little more than 17 minutes a game. I like the move. I feel like at least Boston's not sitting idle and just hoping that when these guys come back, then they make the run. They're trying to do something now to say, look, we're going to start from day one and try to be a contender.
Yeah, and the way the salary cap works in the NBA is a lot easier for the Celtics than, say, like the Boston Bruins with their injury problems, because they got a hard cap, and they're going to have to make moves to get those players back. And the Celtics really won't have to do much.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see him in a Celtics. It's going to be weird.
It will be weird.
It'll be weird,
odd.
It'll be fun. So let's talk about another player, and that's Lonzo Ball, his injury. So how serious is this for the Bulls right now? Because he played 35 games last season. Obviously, big free agent signing. The thought was that they were going to be able to, have a formidable team that could compete in the Eastern Conference. He's a big piece of that. Him being out, it could be a couple months. He received a second surgery on his knee since his last surgery in January. Are you worried, if you are a Chicago Bulls fan, about the future of Lorenzo Ball?
Well, if I was them, yeah,
Lonzo Ball, by the way.
Lonzo. Yeah, if I'm Chicago Bulls, if I'm anybody else in the league, no. You're thrilled because that just takes Chicago Bulls out of the picture right now. To me, that that stops them from being a top 4 team in that conference. In fact, I think it might as well just put them maybe 6th or 7th, and that's a far cry from potentially top 4.
Yeah. But it's I think you know what you're getting when you got this player, though. So in his career, 52 games, his first year, 47, 63, 55.
Right, the
Most
history is
he's played
there.
is 63. Last season, 35. Expectation is even if he comes back from this surgery,
Yeah,
how healthy is he going to be to remain with this team for years to come and be a contender? Your windows are short in the NBA for the most part. You don't see teams last as long as maybe an NFL franchise or a baseball franchise where they make the playoffs every year. Your window's much shorter in the NBA. And I just feel like they made a mistake picking him up, knowing that he was injury prone. And unfortunately, it looks like it's going to continue throughout his career.
yeah.
He's had 3 surgeries on this knee now.
There's just players that are always injured. Like you see it all the time in every sport. You always get the same guy going on the DL. I mean, you look at the California, Anaheim Angels or California Angels, whatever they are, the year that they
Change it
are.
every year. Yeah.
With Mike Trout, what last 4 or 5 years he's been on the DL.
Yeah.
So once that starts happening, it's always there, and it never goes away. That it's always stupid. Like the Red Sox are with Chris Sale.
Yeah.
Once his injury started, that's it. It hasn't stopped.
Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, the same
he's-
thing.
Again, he's on the possible injured list this week as well. Like and now Lonzo Ball falls into that same category. It just feel like even if he gets healthy enough to play this season, which there's still question or doubt that he may,
Right.
how long do you have him before, again, you're just dealing with another injury?
Yep.
So we're going to move on to some Major League Baseball, and a lot going on with baseball as it's winding down in the season. And we're going to bring up Shohei Ohtani, and what kind of threat would he be to Aaron Rodgers in this MVP race?
Wait, Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Judge. What is wrong with me today, huh?
I was like, wait, Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers,
Not only is he a 4-tool baseball player, he also playing football.
He's a quarterback. He plays quarterback and defensive back.
The guy is so skilled. He probably could. He's so skilled. Like he's probably the most talented ball player in baseball.
So if you were a baseball writer and were able to vote, would you vote him ahead of Aaron Judge?
No.
Even with his pitching.
Even with.
So 34 home runs, 94 RBIs, 7th in wins for a pitcher, 15 wins, 2.35 ERA, and 213 strikeouts.
Not even sure he's going to get my vote for the Cy Young Award either. So, yeah. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, look, he's a great ball player. I mean, this guy is destined for the record books. But Aaron Judge right now is on another planet. But is every ball that he hits.
Yeah. If he doesn't get the Triple Crown, though, do you think that may hurt him a little bit?
No. The fact that he's vying for the Triple Crown says it all.
Yeah,
I mean, that think says it's it all.
Clear-cut favorite. So, my last question: does he break the record?
Well, he only needs one to break the record. So
yeah.
So yeah, he'll probably do it tonight.
6-game streak with no home run.
Yeah, I know.
So it could be close.
He was holding the bat too tight.
Yeah. So did you know, Ron? I got one for you. Roger Maris. How many home runs did he hit for the record?
61.
Do you remember what year it was?
God, no.
1961.
Yeah.
Do you know how many years
Oh,
later
wow.
when
It's
Aaron Judge
61
broke
years.
61 years? Is that not
Wow,
ironic?
how do
What is the
people
odds of that?
figure these numbers out?
What is
Holy
the
crap.
odds of that? 1961, 61 home runs. 61 years later, Aaron Judge, 61 home runs.
Yep, and he'll be the all-time leader in home runs in a season.
So, Sherlock for MVP, no doubt in your mind.
In my mind, no doubt. Even
Okay.
if he doesn't get another home run, he's my MVP.
Yeah, even if I wanted to argue that, I don't think I could because it just makes no sense.
He's got 27 more than Ohtani. Like
Yeah.
that, just saying that.
That home run alone, yeah. And what, another 40-plus RBIs.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. His season is
Almost
ridiculous.
60 points higher in his batting average, too.
And it was pure.
Yeah. We hope that never. So it's face-off time. You get to decide which way you want to go on this, but question is it time for the New England Patriots to put Bill Belichick on the hot seat?
It's funny you come up with this question the week Mac Jones isn't in there.
Okay. Is that where you were going with that? Well, which way are you going?
I'm just saying, no, it's not time yet. It's not time yet. You got to give him a chance to groom this quarterback to be a champion. And with him being injured now, that I don't know how long or how effective he's going to be when he does come back. And hopefully they don't destroy the kid and come back too early and then be out for the season. That's something I worry about. Now, with that being said, right now, I don't think he should be on the hot seat, but it's a little warm. It's a little warm. I think next season is the year you have to be concerned because it'll be his third year, and that's when things should happen.
So here's my concern and why I believe he should be put on the hot seat. Year one, before Tom Brady, Patriots 5-11. Quarterback by the name of Drew Bledsoe. He was all right. Pretty good quarterback. Not horrible.
He was having a great season.
5-11. Cam Newton, first year after Tom Brady, 7-9. First year with Mac Jones, 10-7. Gets completely destroyed in the playoffs. He has not put talent around any player since I don't even know a year. Randy Moss, the year he had Randy Moss, Wes Welker, he picked up, Randy Moss. What was that, 2006, 2006. Mac Jones needs players. Bill Belichick, if you're going to head coach and be the general manager, unfortunately, you got to bring players in that are going to benefit because Mac Jones is never going to be Tom Brady. Tom Brady could take an average Joe and make him a great player. Deion Branch. Deion Branch goes to Seattle. Horrible. Right? All these guys, like David Gibbons.
Huh? Yeah, Patton, Givens, all these guys.
All these guys went to different teams, couldn't make it, came back. How do you expect
Terry Glenn,
the New England Patriots, God rest his soul, but how do you expect them to be better or get better if he's going to he's going to keep playing the same game that he played for 20 years with Tom Brady? It doesn't work anymore. And this is where I'm starting to question his coaching decisions. You put a second-year quarterback with a offensive coordinator who's a defensive coordinator. How's that benefit your team going forward? It doesn't. You get a Joe Judge who's horrible with the Giants.
Look, you're not telling me anything that I don't already know.
It's time to get him out because all he wants to do is keep the same guys and recycling them.
Okay, so putting him on the hot seat is one thing. I think it's a little warm this year. Next year is next year is the year that you have to decide whether it's put up or get out, basically. I think that's the year 4 post Tom Brady. That's 4 years you've given him to make it work. And if there's no improvement, then that's when you pull the trigger. But you can't do it. You can't do it, especially when you don't know who you want to replace him.
Look at
And
some
I
of
know
these
there's
young
candidates out
offensive
there. I
players.
know there's candidates. There's always going to be candidates. But until you know that he doesn't have it anymore is when you decide.
So I'm going to ask you this question: you still
You
feel he
have to
has
know.
it? You still feel he
I
has it?
still feel there's that factor is there.
Based on what? What have you seen
Not based
these
on
first 3
personnel.
games that makes you feel like he's he's coaching supremacy over the other coaches in the NFL?
Well, because their defense is still there. And to be honest, I didn't expect it to be. I thought with the loss of J.C. Jackson and several other guys in the linebacking core, and, I thought they would take a giant step back defensively. They have not. So I still think there's that. Now, does he have an eye for offensive talent? No. I think he has an eye for quarterbacks. I really do. I think he's the one that was the one that went out and got Jimmy G. And if Tom Brady wasn't going to play much longer, then Jimmy G would have been here. And once they realized that Tom Brady was going to play a lot more years, they had to trade him, and every team knew it. So, so I think he has an eye for a quarterback. He does not have a good eye for receivers. We know this. He has a good eye for running backs. It seems like they always have someone coming in as a running back. So there is still a presence in his coaching decisions. And say what you want about the receivers. I think they're actually doing a pretty decent job considering.
They're good.
They're good. They're not great. They're
Yeah,
not
they're
great.
good.
But at least they're doing the job. I'd like to see more, though, this year. And that's why I
But
say this year he's lukewarm. He's not. He's that seat is warming up.
Situational football is where they excelled every
Right.
year.
Right. And
They
that's
make the
a
right plays
little
at the right
lacking.
time, and they're not doing that.
No.
And that's coaching, and that's been the last 3 years without Tom Brady, because Tom Brady masked a lot of mistakes.
Right. It does.
And now you're starting to see the fact that Bill Belichick, he's one of the best coaches of all time. I'm not saying I'm not taking that away from him. What I'm saying is the game is starting to change, and it's different, and it's geared differently. And I don't think his mentality is to change. It's going to be the same thing next year. To your point, you keep him another year. All you're doing is stunting the growth of this team, changing what they should be and where they need to go going forward. Look at the Philadelphia Eagles and how quickly they were able to turn that around with a running quarterback, different styles, right? Pick up A.J. Brown and do all these things to make their team more competitive. New England, what do we do? Let's dumb down the offense. Let's go back to an offense that was back from the 80s.
And I'm telling you, he looked at those moves that the teams were making in the AFC this year, and he's like, you know what? I'm not going to try to improve the team this year because it's just a waste of time. Because if we go and grab one more guy, it's not going to make a difference. And I swear that's his thinking right now. He's going to wait until next year and then go after the big fish next year. That's. I think he looked at. I think he looked at Buffalo's situation. The Chargers, the Chiefs. That whole division out there, what they did, and he's looking at the numbers saying, we got to play all these good teams next year, and it is going to be a dogfight. So let's just keep it calm and try to do as best as we can, and then prepare for next year. I think that's what he's doing.
2007, Tom Brady blows out his knee. Remember the starting quarterback?
Oh my, yeah.
Matt Castle.
Yes.
11-5 with Matt Castle.
I know.
But again, it was because you have no offensive coordinator. You had solid. You still had Randy Moss, Wes Welker, right?
Yeah.
You had all these great players to take away from the fact that you lost Tom Brady. Mac Jones is a good quarterback. Can he be great? I think he could be with the right personnel. Joe Burrow struggled. Yeah. You give him a Jamar Chase, and all of a sudden he became a Super Bowl quarterback. He got to the Super Bowl.
Right.
That's what's missing in New England. And I don't think Bill Belichick is ever going to sit there and go, we need to get pass happy. We need to – it's run the ball, play solid defense, try to have good special teams, and not lose the game. And it's not working.
Yeah, you need that one receiver that just goes up and grabs everything. And, there's going to be a guy that's available next year. I don't know who that guy is going to be, but there's going to be that one guy that is available. And you could see a team, in that AFC West, somebody's going to dismantle over there. Somebody's going to. And it could be the Raiders. Because, that's a team that should be in first place, to be honest with you.
With all their talent, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And they're sitting here 0-3 right now. So, and again, I bring up this. Okay, so if Josh McDaniels is such a talent as an offensive coordinator, why isn't it panning out over there? I think Bill Belichick has a lot more to do with the play calling in New England than what we think. And I think there was a lot of the decisions that the plays were being called by Bill here in New England over all of this time. And because I'm looking at Las Vegas, that they have more skill at every position than the Patriots, and they can't get out of their own way. And there's something to be said about that. It's funny how almost every coach that leaves New England and fails miserably. Yeah. The only one that has the only one that's had any success was Vrabel.
And but we know he wasn't a coach. But Vrabel was never a coach in New England. He was a player.
No, he was a player.
Other places,
right? And that's the
Ohio State, and never coached with Bill Belichick. So
right.
And again,
that's the point I was going to make.
Bill being tight vest. He doesn't give you too much. He's not going to he's going to make sure you're not going to be able to use what he teaches you somewhere else and then to beat him.
Yeah.
Even Brian Flores, I thought, did a great job against New England.
Yeah.
He did a good job with Miami.
He was probably the best coach out of all the assistants that left.
Yeah, agreed. It's NHL time.
I don't even know were we arguing the same point?
I think at some point we ended up arguing the same point there.
It's still a great face-off because it is something like when you look at a great coach and then, when you see bad times, it is hard to recognize what's true.
Do you remember how many people criticized the Dallas Cowboys when they got rid of Tom Landry? Like, Tom Landry, the only coach they had ever had. You can't get rid of Tom Landry.
Right.
And new owner came in, said, okay, we're going to just change everything. And we did, if you haven't checked it out, The Dynasty, the Dallas Cowboys, great show, great episode.
Which we're going to do another episode.
But you bring in a Jimmy Johnson, a whole new mindset, change the whole dynamic of that team. And within 3 years, they're in the Super Bowl and they're winning.
Yeah.
We're trying to do the same thing by rehashing the same coaches with the same systems and not changing the mentality. Yeah. And that's where I think we're starting to look at Bill Belichick, and you have to start to question, can he remain here if he's going to be the same Bill Belichick?
You know what could shut us up having this conversation?
Brian Hoyer going out and tearing up the Green Bay Packers.
Yes.
Look what he did with Brian Hoyer.
Look, right though? Am I right?
It would help. Yeah, it would help. Because then
it's crazy.
He have the ability to coach it. But if they get beat again and it's turnovers at the end of the game and things that they don't normally do, penalties at costly times, again, I would start to question it.
look, I don't question his coaching abilities because I've seen him make something out of nothing time after time after time. Now,
But
this year, this year, I didn't see those picking off players from the scrap heap when the cuts came. I didn't see that. And that's something that he usually feasts on. He brings in these used tires and puts new treads on them, and then they end up being something great. And I didn't see that this year. And that's probably the one thing that worries me.
it's going to be a fun season.
Hopefully.
NHL time. We're going to bring up this gentleman here, and that's John Tavares, one of the big free agent signings a couple of years ago, Toronto Maple Leafs. He's going to miss the start of the season. Do you think this is going to cost the Maple Leafs some wins? I mean, it's only for a few weeks, and you think about what they have as a team, but you always want to start off, with all your bullets in the chamber, I guess would be the expression.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting. Then without Tavares, he's such an important player in Toronto. Outside of Austin Matthews, he's the guy that really taught Austin Matthews how to be a leader. To be honest with you, when you think about Tavares, he's just a lead by example kind of guy. He's a great player. He is so skilled and he's so calm and collective. There's no panic in him, and that's going to be a big thing to miss, especially when Toronto just came off of that first round loss and they expected to win that round. Again, changing goaltenders, and I think they put themselves in a worse position goaltending wise. I am not expecting Toronto to do much, to be honest with you. And without him in there, they're going to struggle at first.
Yeah. So last season, 27 goals, 49 assists, 76 points, a -8. But to your point, stirs the drink. Right? He's the guy that's going to get Matthews his shots. He's the guy that's kind of making sure that team runs effectively. We know how good they are offensively.
He's also playing against the team's better lines, too.
Yeah, and we questioned the goaltending. That's where their struggles were. I think every one of those playoff games, it was a shootout. And you're not going to win a lot of games that way. I mean, he's a big loss, but I think they should be more worried about the goaltending situation.
Yeah, they should be.
Defensively, how they're going to stack up. But some of these big stars going out early, and again in the NHL, that's where your bread and butter. You want these guys to be playing. We're going to talk about the Boston Bruins. So preseason has begun, my friend. I know you're excited. They've played 2 games. They had a 3-2 win in overtime versus the New York Rangers and a 2-1 loss to the Philadelphia Flyers. What did you see in those games that you liked? Some things that maybe you'd like to see change early in the season here? And I would also ask you about head coaching. Montgomery, your thoughts on his first 2 games as a Boston Bruin?
First thing is with Montgomery, I think the players are responding very well to him. I think they feel refreshed. I think they feel like there is more of a chance for these young players to get in the games. And I think that serves the Boston Bruins very well. Because whether people realize it or not, and I know they get on Don Sweeney for that draft when they had those 3 picks back to back to back. But I'm telling you, those were not bad picks. Maybe one of them was a bad pick, and he didn't turn out to be anything. But, look, DeBrusk is a good hockey player. That was a good pick for the Bruins. And Zaboral was just coming into his own last season before the injury. Well, he's got another chance this year, and he's playing fabulous in the preseason right now. And he is going to be a mainstay on that Bruins defense. He's going to make the team, and he's going to play regularly. And then people are going to say, oh, well, that's not a bad pick after all. So that is going to relieve some pressure off of Don Sweeney. But now he has the other players that have to hit, because you have Bergeron that's on the verge of that R word. You have Krejci that's pretty much here for a year.
Yeah.
I don't see him playing past it. But so you got to have those two spots. Well, from what I've seen in the preseason, is a good sign, because I've seen some players step up, and Studnicka, which I've been high on, and this,
Yep.
He should have gotten more playing time last season, because then we would have really known what we have there. But he's playing very well. He's doing pretty well at the faceoff dot, and that is important because you need a guy that can win faceoffs. His passing ability, he's making AJ Greer look like Pasternak out there.
2 goals
Like, really?
in the win. Yeah, with the Rangers, 2 goals for Greer.
Yep. And that's another thing that the Bruins were missing last year. They missed that grit. And AJ Greer is the perfect guy to step into that role. I fear, well, not fear because I'd rather have this. I fear that Nosek and Foligno have to be bought out. They have to be traded, have to be something. You got to get them off the books, because I'd rather have Studnicka at center and AJ Greer in there with whether it's Frederick or whoever on that wing. You gotta do it. You gotta play the young kids, or Lysell. I haven't really seen enough from him yet. I don't think he's going to make the team at the beginning of the season, but it could be something that progresses. It's going to take him a little time to get used to the pro game. So, but I think they're ready. I think the kids, you got Steen that's playing very well. Like, that to me is the line.
So I would ask you this. So last season, you talked about the youngsters not getting an opportunity. You get a new head coach in, different voice, different opinion. Similar to what I'm saying about the New England Patriots. Thank you. You changed philosophy.
No. Look. No, and you're right about that. Look, that is.
Would they have looked
that
as
is
good?
A big key of everything.
Yeah. Would they be the same team you're talking about right now if they didn't have made a change at the head coach?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't think so.
Right?
I think we'd be floundering opportunities.
So outlook is that young, talented team, right? It has to grow. We know there's going to be some injury issues to begin the season.
Absolutely, and that's the defense.
This experience
these
really kids are getting, right? Kids can the experience they're going to get right now. Yeah, I haven't seen you this excited for Bruins hockey in a while.
Yeah, because I think with the skill level of the young Bruin players, I think are far better than what people give them credit for. And most of the people that are talking is from the New England area, and they just all pessimists about the Bruins, roster, of youth. And I'm telling you, Lauko, there's guys there that really have some skill, and people are going to be surprised on what those players can do. And it's going to be similar to like the New Jersey Devils, with that young, skilled players that are just keep coming up and producing. The only difference is the Bruins have those players like Bergeron, Marchand, Pasternak, Hall, Krejci, that they still have, that are there to guide these young players along with a coach that can do the same.
Yeah.
And
has Krejci played in the preseason yet?
No, Bergeron, Krejci, Pasternak have yet to play.
Makes sense. Ron, it's pick and roll time.
Oh, my God.
And this was by far one of our most difficult pick and rolls. So we are on episode 39. So 39 years ago in 1983, these players were all NBA first team selections. And that would be Larry Bird, Julius Irving, Magic Johnson, Moses Malone, and Sidney Moncrief. We're going to rank them 5-1. I am so excited. You're first this week.
Look, you know, remember when we were talking about that basketball Mount Rushmore?
Yes.
And
Pretty
I
close,
was
right?
like, oh, you have you have Jordan, you have I had Bill Russell, Magic, and then that fourth spot was like a battle with
Yeah.
Bird and like Kareem and a bunch of other players, Wilt and all that. And I'm like, then I look at the numbers and I'm like, who really is ahead of who?
It's pretty crazy.
And then you come up with this one, and for the life of me, I only know one spot for sure.
Okay. And that would be 5, I believe.
Number 5, Sidney Moncrief.
Agreed.
That
And
is
numbers.
the absolute number. Yes.
And I felt bad. So good numbers, but against these guys,
Yeah.
not good enough.
You know what's the great thing is? He was up there with these guys.
He was a first team, 1983. You think about it with the names.
Like, that's amazing. Like, and his career numbers, I would take in a heartbeat. 15.6 points per game from your center. 4.7. I don't know. Was he what position was he?
I think he was a forward, small forward.
Small forward. That makes more sense. 3.6 assists. So he contributed. This was a full contribution from this guy. 5 All-Stars, 5 All-NBAs, 5 All-Defensive.
Right.
And 2 Defensive Player of the Years. This guy won 2.
Yeah.
It's like,
very good.
I would take that in a heartbeat. The only problem is we're putting up against these 4 guys that the numbers are just insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
Agreed.
Okay, so when I did this earlier this morning, at the time when I did it, Moses Malone was number 4.
You talked yourself out of it.
20.3 points per game, 12.3 boards,
Insane.
and 1.3 assists. Now, he's a 13-time All-Star. He's an 8 All-NBA, 6-time rebound champion, 2-time All-Defensive, and he's won 3 MVPs. Three MVPs. And he's won 1 championship. So that alone puts him ahead of Sidney Moncrief.
Yes.
The problem with Moses Malone, he's in with these other 3 guys as well. And I don't know if this is correct. Because every time I look at it, it's like, well, maybe he belongs here. I have Dr. J, Julius Irving, at number 3. And let me tell you, it's only a minute percentage point.
Okay.
24.2 points per game, 8.5 boards, 4.2 assists. Now, he's won 3 championships, one NBA, 2 ABA.
ABAs, yep.
That is the reason why he's in this 3rd spot, because he didn't spend his whole career in the NBA. It was the merge or whatever, you know? So, 4-time MVP, 4 MVPs. This guy was just great. This was great. This was the original Air Jordan right here.
Yes, exactly.
1 defensive player, and I think that's what did it for me, because he only had 1. 16-time All-Star. That is crazy. I believe that's the most All-Stars by any of these players.
Yes, it is.
5-time All-NBA when he didn't play his whole career in the NBA.
Oh, 5 all ABAs. 7
all ABAs, 7 all.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah, 7 and 5. Okay. So, so I put him at number 3. And now, for the longest time, I always had this guy ahead. And it might still be that way, but today it wasn't. Magic Johnson, I put at number 2. After looking at the numbers, I decided, yeah, this is where it should be. 19.5 points per game, 7.2 boards and 11.2 assists. Like, Magic just got it done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he got it done. I mean, 4-time assist leader, 2-time steals leader, 12 All-Stars, 3 MVPs, 5-time championship, and 10 All-NBAs. He had a very full career, and, you know, he is definitely on that Mount Rushmore. And he goes alongside as who I put number 1 today, Larry Bird, 24.3 points. So he had 5 points more per game. 10 rebounds a game. That's pretty incredible too. I mean, because you look at Bird, it's like, there's nothing flashy. There's nothing flashy. He just does it. And 6.3 assists to go along with that. That's pretty good for a guy that is supposed to be the main focal point of the scoring. Now, 10 All-NBAs, just like Magic. 3 MVPs, just like Magic. 12 All-Star games. It's crazy numbers. It's just like Magic. He did win a Rookie of the Year, though.
Yeah, he won that. Yeah, he beat Magic out.
But what Magic didn't have is 3 defensive, all NBA defense. I mean, that's a lot. So not only was he great offensively, he was great defensively. And he's 3-time champion. And unfortunately, I think he could have had more if he was healthy.
Plus, he lost to Magic a few times.
Yes, plus he lost to Magic. And, I really, truly believe these two guys are kind of tied in my book. Like, I can never decide. It depends on the day, and I just think those two are just great, and they both belong on that Mount Rushmore. But I put Larry Bird first because of going by what other players said about him. Now, players that played against him, when you're face to face with that player and they're both talking, and Larry Bird did a lot of talking back in the day.
He chirped.
Larry Bird would tell you what he's going to do
and then
do it.
Yep.
To you, right to your face. And he would follow through. And I remember a story where he said something to a player,
it was
and then
Xavier
he just
McDaniels.
dropped. Yes, and he dropped 40 points on him.
Oh no,
it was somebody else, but but he dropped 40 points on that player. 40 points. That's what Larry Bird could do.
There was a story with Xavier McDaniels, and it was the end of the game. And Xavier McDaniels basically said, "Look, he told me what the play was going to be."
Yeah.
And it was a 3 on the side, off the sideline, and he was trying to defend it, and he said Larry still made the shot, and he was like, "I thought he was just pulling my chain, like he's not. That's not what they're gonna." They ran the exact play Larry Bird said they were gonna run.
Yeah, remember that McDonald's commercial?
Yeah, with him and Jordan.
That's what inspired it.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
That's what Larry Bird is. But Magic is the same. It's like, it's just day to day. Whatever you feel is the better player. Like, I can't really decide. Today I did that way, but when we were doing that Mount Rushmore thing, I had Magic Johnson ahead of Larry Bird. So it's how you feel a certain day.
I had it a little different, my friend. I agree with you at 5, Sidney Moncrief. Great career, but just against these guys, the numbers just don't add up. At 4, Moses Malone.
Yep.
I agree with you there. The 1 championship I thought hurt a little bit. But again, 13 All-Stars, 8 All-NBAs, 6-time rebound champ. Like, I thought that was phenomenal. And then to average 12.3 for your career on the boards, that's pretty amazing. I went at 3, Larry Bird.
Yeah. Like I said, these 3 could go anywhere.
And I loved, obviously, as a Boston Celtics fan, loved Larry Bird, what he brought to the Celtics. But I put Julius Irving at 2. And it was because of I couldn't discredit you were that good in the ABA as well. Like he was
Yeah.
one of the most
Oh
dominant
yeah,
players in the ABA.
absolutely.
5 all ABAs plus the 2 championships, 7-time all NBA, 16 all stars, and the numbers were close.
Eric, when I first started watching basketball, Dr. J was my favorite player.
Yeah.
Like he was my favorite player.
And I thought you hit it right on the head when you said, look, he was Air Jordan before Air Jordan. Like he brought that element to the basketball court, and it was amazing. I went Magic at one. I just feel like the 5 championships set him ahead. I did a Ron move on that one. I looked at the championships and I said, out of all these guys, he had the most championships. But the fact that he won 2 steals titles, 4 assist titles as well.
Yeah.
So he did it all. He did it all.
Oh, I know he did. And that's why I put him on the Mount Rushmore a bit ahead of Bird because of that fact. And like I said, like 1, 2, and 3, I didn't know what to do. I just went with how I felt today.
Yeah, it's such a tough. Sometimes when we do this, you really don't know which way you're gonna go, and then even after you do it, you still question it. You go,
and I have been since then, because what you said all makes sense too. Like I have no problem with your list because those 3 guys are at the top of probably everybody's list.
Absolutely.
I think they're my favorite 3 players of time. Not taking anything away from Jordan, I still think Jordan is the best ever. But I like those LeBron. 3 players. No,
LeBron not on that list?
I almost swore because of you.
Nice.
I almost swore. You know what I was going to say. I said it yesterday in text.
So it is prediction time. We're going to bring up the chart. If anyone's going to participate, Ron, just let me know what they pick because I cannot see it.
I will post it.
The list is it's getting tight. This is going to be a tight race. There's 13 weeks left, Ron.
Really? That's all?
That's it. We're on 39 now. So
oh my Lord.
13 weeks left. We've done a ton of games.
Get ready, Manny. Get ready.
150 and 122, 152 and 120. One of us is wearing something we don't want to wear.
I'm telling you, it's going to end in a tie, and we both
season 3. We may both have to wear it if we tie. How's that?
No. At all costs, I do not want to have to buy that jersey. So if it's a tie, it's a tie when nobody wins.
Again, we try to pick the biggest games going on in the week. So we're going to start right off with a major series going on in Major League Baseball on September 30th. And I think we'll put the ticker up so you guys can follow along. But the New York Mets at the Atlanta Braves, 3-game series. Right now, the Mets are up 1 game on the Braves.
Wait, it didn't take all of those things that I put in.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Who do you got? You're first this week.
I'm going with the New York Mets on the road.
Wow.
Okay. Because I know who's pitching for the Mets.
both team, all 3 of their top pitchers.
Yeah, I know, but I'll take DeGrom, Scherzer and Bassett over the others, Martin and
Fried, Martin. Okay.
Yeah.
I went Atlanta. And I think their championship experience is going to come through. And the Mets honestly had a stranglehold on this division, and for some reason they let Atlanta come right back in. I don't know if anybody else did Manny put anything?
Somebody just messaged something. Hold on, let me type it in. And Manny goes with Ron.
He goes with the Mets. All right.
Good job, Manny. That's the correct answer.
October 2nd, Major League Soccer. You got the Sporting Kansas City Soccer Club at the Seattle Sounders Football Club. I'm going with the home team, Seattle. I feel like they're going to have the home field advantage.
I am also going Seattle because they actually have a name of the team.
Sporting Kansas City.
Yeah, Sporting Kansas City. Woo, there's a great name. That's that's a lot of thought. I don't know, but I'm going Seattle home.
Okay.
A 2-1 win. I'll even say the score.
Wow, look at you. Did Manny give a?
I'm waiting on Manny now. So you can go. I'm sure he's thinking about it.
On
There
October
it is. He's going
2nd.
sporting.
Wow. Okay. And Manny knows his soccer.
Yeah, I know he does. That concerns me already. But at least you have the same one, so I'm not worried.
On October 2nd, you have the Buffalo Bills at the Baltimore Ravens.
Ooh. This concerns me a little because Buffalo's they just lost another defensive back to injury. But Baltimore's defense just stinks anyway, so I'm going to go Buffalo.
I went Buffalo as well for a lot of the same reasons. That Baltimore is one of the worst. If New England could put up 400 plus yards on your
Buffalo
defense,
should be able to get like 700.
Yeah, and I think Buffalo had their what if moment. Like you lost the game you should have won, and they're not gonna let that slip by again.
There's Manny's. Oh wait, there's Manny's.
Manny as well, Buffalo.
Oh, Manny's having a good week. I like this from Manny.
Manny's picking all the away teams.
Yeah, that usually doesn't go very well either. So
on October 2nd, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Philadelphia Eagles. I went with Philadelphia. I just think they're a better team. I like what Jacksonville's doing. I just don't think they're there yet to compete. And we already talked about Philly and what they've picked up in the offseason. We thought they were going to have a good year. So I'm going with Philly.
Yeah, I went with Philly too. Look, they're playing at home. You know, look, this team is just playing too well. I think, Jacksonville is playing well, but this is a tough team they have to go on the road against in a tough environment. I think there's no way Jacksonville comes out of this.
And Manny went Jacksonville. Wow.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
He's going all the way. He's in trouble this week.
One of the biggest criticizers of putting him on the top 5, Manny. Now he's picking him.
Yeah, what's up with that, Manny?
Yeah. October 2nd, we got the Kansas City Chiefs at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Who do you got?
Oh, this is a tough one because Tom Brady doesn't lose 2 games at home in a row. He just doesn't. But that team is wounded. But I'm going to go Tampa Bay.
I went Kansas City. As great as the Tampa Bay defense is, it's going to be, I think, a lower scoring game, but Kansas City just has more weapons. Manny with the Chiefs. All right. Manny has literally picked every single away team.
Yes,
so
he did.
This one will put pressure on Manny because Manny's picked 5 straight away teams. On 10-2, you got the New England Patriots at
this is
the
a no-brainer.
Packers. If Manny's got to stick with his gut here and go with all the away teams, I am going the new Green Bay Packers.
The new Green Bay Packers?
Yeah,
I'm going Green Bay. This is oh my God. If the Patriots pull one out of their butts, I'll be happy. And the fact that you also picked Green Bay, I'll be even more happier because you didn't go New England. So I went with Green Bay.
Manny, but this better say Patriots. I think he's debating now because he doesn't.
I don't know who she is.
Okay, he likes the women. They like when a guy takes a risk, but he's going Green Bay. All right,
yeah, that's not a risk though.
All the other ones were.
All right, Manny, you got to be on your toes for this next one.
Nah, he doesn't do racing.
Oh, he's got to.
October 2nd, Yellowwood 500 in Talladega. We need to pick a top 5 driver. You're first, my friend.
All right. In my heart really wants to go with Bubba Wallace. This is the track that, he got that win on. And but I'm going to be realistic. And I'm going to go Joey Logano.
Joey Logano, okay. I went with Ryan Blaney. He's had 6 top 20 finishes in the last 7 races, and he's also won this race in the last couple of years. So Ryan Blaney is my pick.
Blaney.
So once again, if you enjoy what you watch, we had the ticker up. You can watch us and follow us in so many different ways. at Sports Unfolded on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, MeWe, at Rhode Island Broadcasting, where a lot of great shows. So continue to support us there. Donate stars. Now on Facebook, we have the ability to donate stars, bits on Twitch, or follow us on Twitch as well. Looking forward to continue to grow our product every single week. You guys and fans have been amazing. Normally, how we end our show, we do a final thought, and it doesn't have to be anything necessarily about sports. It could be about anything going on in the world today. Ron, you're first with your, wow, you picked up. Okay. Man, he must have just Googled that.
Hey, yeah, but he didn't get a guy that,
Is
wins
it bad?
that
No.
track. No, that's pretty good
Pretty
pick.
good.
You know what's funny? I asked you if I could just name a
Yeah.
racer, and Chase was the
Chase.
guy I was.
Yeah. See? So your
So,
final thought.
He might get this one.
He
might
may.
get this one.
He may.
Oh, I got to come up with a final thought at the last minute? Oh, no. Of course I'm going to go pick on the Miami Dolphins. Look, this is just disgusting what Miami is doing. I thought it was pretty bad when they fired Flores and, they wanted him to tank and he didn't want to tank. And that's the reason why I really feel they fired him, because they didn't want to tank. And, now we have Miami not only doing that, wanting to tank, not only trying to lure quarterbacks, to their team, illegally, but now they've stooped to changing an injury from a back injury, from a concussion to a back injury, so they don't have to follow protocols. This is a team that is just outright trying to cheat, but yet it seems like they're letting everything skate through for Miami. If this was New England that just did this, there would be an investigation already, and the Patriots would have lost a draft pick by now, and fined another couple of $1 million. It's just ridiculous. Miami is just sitting there and they're getting away with this, and I'm done with it. I'm done with it. I hope Miami never wins another game forever.
Wow.
This makes me hate the team so much that I've now put them over the Yankees and Montreal. Well, maybe not Montreal, but
Wow.
definitely the Yankees, because at least the Yankees have Aaron Judge, and that makes me feel good about, something in New York. So, Miami Dolphins, I hope you never win another game for the rest of time.
A little harsh, but okay. No,
It's not
I
harsh
understand where you're
enough.
coming from, though. I get it. So I actually have two tonight. First
Jesus.
First one's in the entertainment world. And
Julio
passed away at the age of
Oh.
59. Gangsta's Paradise, Fantastic Voyage. Some of those great songs, when you hear them, no matter what, you always remember and sing it. And, you want to listen to the whole thing. And just young at 59. So that was one that I definitely wanted to make sure we brought up. And I just wanted to give my thoughts and prayers to everyone in Florida, that devastating Hurricane Ian, and what that did to those communities. That was just one of those things that, again, we expect it to happen, but when you see the devastation, unfortunately, you don't prepare yourself to see how much damage it actually does. So we know they're going to be struggling for a bit, and just let you know that everybody's thinking and praying for everyone out there that's been affected by what happened in Florida. Once again, this has been Sports Unfolded, episode 39, Walking Wounded. Ron, it's been a pleasure, my friend. Manny, thanks for
Always.
joining us tonight. If anyone else joined, I do apologize. I couldn't see it, but appreciate you being here. Check us out. Follow us in all our social media outlets. We are just continue to grow, help Sports Unfolded grow. If you'd like to sponsor the show, ribroadcasting.media@gmail.com, and check that out. You can definitely sponsor the show. We'll get you all the information so that you can have your company or brand on our show millions of eyes on them. We are worldwide, not just a local show. SEC TV, Public Access Channel 12, Southeast Connecticut. You've been great supporting us. We appreciate what you do for us as well. Check us out. That's Tuesday nights. If you enjoy what you're watching and you're watching it now, check us out every Friday night, 6 p.m.
Think about the possibilities with people, sponsoring the show. Like, say, a Chinese restaurant that makes great egg rolls could sponsor the pick and roll.
The
Think
pick and egg
about
roll.
that.
We could do the pick and egg roll.
Yeah. Yeah.
We could change it up. That's it. Pick and egg roll. Yeah, I like where it's heading.
This show is so fun to do.
Brought to you by Mr. Tim's Chinese Restaurant. Yes, I could see it now. Where we go from there. So, you take care, my friend. We will see you on Tuesday for our NHL preview show. Very excited. We'll break down all 32 teams.
Cannot wait for that one.
And give you our predictions. And if you enjoy seeing a human being hack every name humanly possible.
Oh, God, that is going to be fun.
Watch us do our NHL because I am absolutely horrible at it. But I'm looking forward to it. That'll be at 7 p.m. this Tuesday, October 4th. Check that out. Ron, as we always say every week, let's just get some peace in this world.
That's right. Have a great night, everyone.